Hello there dear friends. So in this video we'll be looking on how are we able to make use of props. So React props are basically arguments that are being passed into components, React components. As you can see here, we have a component called title. So title is actually an example of a typical component would look like. So as you can see here, this is the app.js file here, and we are just running this particular app.js file here, and then as you can see here, we happen to have a component called title. So when you click on a title by holding on control like this, so we get to see what is the content of that particular component called title. So inside title we have just an h1 tag which says this is the headline. So this is a very simple component, and basically how a component would look like. So now the thing is, how are we able to make use of props, and when will we need to use props? So that's the whole idea of this part of the video is going to look like. So basically props is being actually sent to, like, as an argument to a component like this, by the way. So why do we send a component? Why do we send a props to a component, by the way? It's just to make this particular component to become dynamic. So that's the reason. So dynamic means is that your component is not hard coded. That there needs to be something that basically you need to make your component reusable. So in that way, this is the one more step of making your components reusable, and not just like repeating, having multiple number of components. So that's also one more reason why we use props. So let's see how are we able to make use of props. So props is like a way to pass data into a component like this. For example, this is a component. So how are we able to pass a data? So in this case, I would like to give my, how to say this is, since it's a title, I would like to make the title, the headline, to be a different text that's coming from app.js, and I would like to pass that data into this title.js so that it will be able to make it dynamically shown inside your app.js like this. So as you can see here, I would like to go to that particular components tag here, and I would like to make some space here. So what I'll be doing here is that I would like to pass something called the headline like this. Okay, headline, just simple headline. It can be anything, but for this particular part of this component, I would like to pass something which can be anything that I would like to pass. So in this case, the first thing I have to pass is headline. So in this case, I would like to give headline to be an actual text, for example, like this. So in this case, I would like to say the headline to be new title. Okay. So in this case, I would like to place it. Let's make it even more better. In this case, I would like to say React. Let's just say React like this. ReactJS course. Okay. So in this case, the title's headline is going to be ReactJS course. But so what? This is one way to pass the argument, which is a headline, to a particular component called title. And also when we go to this particular title, so let's hit save, and as you can see here, nothing happens. All right, so as you can see, webpack have successfully compiled, but nothing happens. That's the reason why. Is because since here we are just passing the data, and also we need to make it able to receive it inside this title component here. So you must able to receive that particular props, which is called headline, to be received and placed it inside here. So how are we able to do that? That's the second part of this video is going to be about. So first of all, let's go to this particular bracket here. This is where we're going to place the argument, which is called props. This magic word called props. So props is basically the magic word in this case. So let's check what does this props contains. Let's go and open. Just make a console.log. Console.log like this, and let's see what is the content of the props, and let's click on save here. So as you can see here, we have already clicked on save, and so as you can see here, I'd like to open the inspect Elementor like this. and I have to go and open console here, console tab here, and as you can see here, there's something has been okay, so something has been released here, displayed here. This is basically the console that we have did it here. We just made it console props, so we can actually see what inside this object. So this props is actually an object. So let's open it. So as you can see here, there is a object that has a child called headline, which has an element of ReactJS cause. So this is actually coming directly from the props that we have sent from the app.js here. So this is the basic example of how are we able to pass data in the form of props to a particular component. In this case, it's going to be called title. So let's take the props, just copy the props, and I'll just be pasting it right here. And of course, it has to be a JavaScript. It has to be a JavaScript tag like this, which is, since it's a JavaScript, we are going to display these props here. We need to make sure we use this open and closing curly braces because it's JavaScript inside HTML. So we paste these props objects inside here, and since it's an object, we need to call its element. For example, in this case, it's called headline. So let's do like this, and let's click on save. And there you go. We have the title. We have just passed the headline ReactJS cause to this particular component called title, and the title's job is just to display the whatever the content we are sending as a prop as like inside this h1 tag here. So this is how a basic props can be used as. So also let's make it a bit more better than this, because as you can see here, this is very basic. Let's make it like a bit more complex. Like let's declare a constant called headline. So in this case, I would like to say I'm going to say this headline is going to be it's going to be ReactJS cause. So like this. So simple, just copy this and just paste it inside this HTML, inside this props called headline. So in this case, this headline is coming to this, and this is the headline. This headline is actually the props itself, part of the props object element. So in this case, let's make it a bit more better. In this case, I'm going to say text headline content. So I'll be copying headline content and paste it right here. So as you can see now, it's more better. Although there's no problem, but it's just for our purposes that this is how it should be look like. Headline content is ReactJS core. So let's hit save like this, and there you go. As usual. There's no error. Let's just give it a check. Let's remove this space like this, and let's click on save. And there you go. That's how a basic props are being used as a way to send data to a particular component as a prop, and that props is actually an object. So and this is just a title here. Let's add more than one props into a single component like this. For example, in this case, currently I'm just sending headline. I would like to also send the bottom the subtitle, I would say. So in this case, I would say subtitle. So in this case, I have to do the same thing like how I did it for headline here. In this case, it's gonna be copy everything. And in this case, I'm gonna say it's gonna highlight this headline. And in this case, I would say subtitle content. Okay, just copy the name of this and just paste it inside here. Okay, and then we're going to change this ReactJS cause also. In this case, we're going to say 30 days. Oh, sorry about that. So in this case, I'm going to say 30 days mastery video. Just say that's it. 30 days mastery course. So in this case, let's hit save, and as you can see that nothing happens, because although I just clicked on saved here, but then nothing happens because we are sending the subtitle, but we are not receiving it inside our title. So the same thing happens here. Let's do the same thing like this. Copy and paste it below here. Instead of h1, let's put p tag instead. So in this case, I have to put p tag, and instead of headline, I have to say subtitle. And let's click on save. And there you go, guys. This is how a basic props can be used, and this is how basics of how are we able to make use of props. So the next thing that I would like to cover before we end for today's session is that we need to know how to destructure this particular props. So props can be used as an object here. So in this case, props is an object, by the way. And what if we are able to destructure this object? So I mean there is a way to do that. So destructuring is basically we are not directly using this props dot line. So we need to you can directly like open a curly braces, and we can just directly call this name, the name of this particular the way, this is the way that we are calling it. So in this case, going to be headline and subtitle. This is the element of the props. Okay. So but then we are not going to use element of the props like object dot element. In this case, we are just directly going to skip props and directly going to only going to call headline followed by subtitle. So as you can see here, this is how we able to destructure props. Instead of using props dot, we don't need to use the props, the object itself. We can directly call headline only, or you can directly call subtitle only. So let's click on save here. So as you can see, there's an error here, and the error is props is not defined, because yeah, this is definitely a common basic common mistake here. So as you can see, we won't be needing props anymore, and let's click on save. And there you go, and it's working as how it's supposed to look like. What we did here, we just destructure the props that which used to be an object, right? Object called props. So that's how are we able to make this particular props to destructure and also make use of it as well. So that's it for this part of the video. Thank you guys for watching this part of the video, which we have just covered about props and how to destructure props. So thank you guys for watching this part of the video, and let's meet another another ReactJS course. Thanks guys.